Welcome back to Almost Heaven, Always Us. I'm Corey.
I'm Kelsey.
And today we're going to be busting some myths about West Virginia.
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters. Some preconceived notions, some misconceptions, and some stereotypes about West Virginia. And we're going to bust them. We're going to bust them good.
Stick around for some personal stories and surprises about what living in the Mountain State is really like.
Oh, yeah. Last time we revealed some pretty big secrets in the last episode. Do you think some more might come out today?
Maybe. We'll see where it goes.
We'll see, I guess.
Whatever comes natural.
So I went online and looked up a list, and this is what I got. So we're going to go through it. And if you know me, and you do, and how much I love West Virginia, I'm very defensive about West Virginia. So whenever I see particular stereotypes, you know how I feel about it. I get really upset.
I know.
It really gets me there, doesn't it? Very passionate about defending our state against ignorance. Now, a lot of these really aren't the ones that you're all probably thinking. Everybody's probably thinking certain ones. These are a little bit more lighthearted. I took a peek at them ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
And they're ones that I'm like, okay. I don't think any of them made me mad that I can recall. We'll see. No, like marrying your cousin type stuff.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, well, like they really hit all of the southern states with that. Like you see that about anybody. You mention a random southern state and somebody's going to throw that out there. So it's not really just a West Virginia thing.
I feel like it's West Virginia and Alabama a lot.
Alabama gets hit a lot. West Virginia gets hit a lot. See it from Mississippi, some. It's ignorant. Gross.
It is gross, especially.
And then the stories, you'll see them come out a lot of times, will be states that don't really ever even have that kind of stereotype. And then you'll see an article come out, somebody got arrested for it or something. It's like, hey, why aren't you hearing about New York doing that, But anyway, I digress. I've got my handy list here. The first one says, it's categorized, geography misconceptions.
Okay.
Oh, it's a good one. You may have been asked this before. How close to Richmond do you live? You understand it?
Yeah.
Isn't West Virginia just part of Virginia?
Yeah, that is a big one.
Has that ever happened to you?
When someone thought that it was just part of Virginia? Yeah. Well, just like in younger years, and someone recently told me that they didn't know that West Virginia was a state, that it's just part of Virginia. Like that one time when we went to that Drake concert, he probably thought.
That's right.
He probably thought he really was in Virginia.
That's right. Drake came to Morgantown when we were young. We were in college.
Yeah.
And he did a concert at the Coliseum. And he said it about 3 times, if I remember correctly, throughout the show, 3 separate times. I just love being here in Virginia. I had secondhand embarrassment for him.
I know.
But Drake and those guys, when you think about those guys that get it wrong, like Drake and those guys, you just think, they not like us.
They not like us. They not like us.
Had to throw that in there. The Super Bowl, did you like that performance?
I did. Do you know that a girl, I'm pretty sure she was I don't want to get it wrong, but who does like the sports?
I saw it.
You saw her. What is she?
She's a coach. Like
a coach.
One of
She's from West Virginia. Like I think the first
from Morgantown, I believe.
Female black coach from West Virginia for the Eagles.
Yeah, and even from Morgantown. Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
That was cool.
You know what was really cool during the Super Bowl? That commercial.
Oh yeah.
No one saw that coming. Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Out of left field.
People just love that song.
Country Roads. And then you're watching the Super Bowl and you get all emotional all of a sudden.
Yeah, we're part of this.
That's awesome. Didn't see that coming. No really connection to West Virginia there. And then it pops out of nowhere. Yeah. And then you hear that song and it just gets you. Every time it gets you.
I wonder how people who have never even been to West Virginia or desire to go, but they still like the song.
They love it.
What are you thinking in your head?
I think it's
like this is just a good song.
Like the Take Me Home, people probably just think about their home, wherever that is. Or they think, this place sounds really great. I've never been there, but I'd love to be there one day.
Yeah.
We're here every day, so we're blessed.
We're here every day.
Almost
Don't
heaven.
even know how good we got it.
Jim Gaffigan has a joke. It says, no offense to West Virginia, but he's like, when you get to heaven, there's going to be a sign that says, heaven, just a little bit better than West Virginia.
And he's like, it makes me want to reconsider hell. It makes me want to give hell another look. That part's not good for us.
It's not good.
But it's funny.
It was a good joke. It's pretty funny. I'm not always that defensive about West Virginia. If it's funny, I'll take it. That was funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be able to take a joke about yourself.
Right. So we got off track a little bit, but no, I'm glad you brought up the Drake. That was That was probably the worst case of it I ever saw, because that was in front of a whole bunch of West Virginia fans.
Yeah. Right in
And
Morgantown.
WVU right in Morgantown, and he just kept saying it. And we're like, please, Drake, stop, please. Somebody tell him. Somebody tell your man.
Put him in
where
sub
he's
block
at.
1.
He doesn't know where he's at. Yeah, he was too busy looking for A minor.
It was kind of a little too old of crowd being in a college campus. He should have gone to like university or gone to a Mohegan.
He still
game.
thinks he's in Degrassi High, don't he?
That was my favorite show as a teenager. And we watched it while after we were married because it started, they were in 7th grade when I was in 7th grade. I literally spent my teen years and young adult life growing up with them. I knew who they were on a personal level.
Right.
And I was one of them.
How did you feel when he got gunned down on that show?
I was really sad.
Yeah.
And like I have a weird thing whenever like I'm pregnant and I want to be sad and make myself cry, I watch that scene. And I also watch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air scene where he's like, "Why don't you want me, man?" Those two scenes.
He's like, talking about his real dad.
Talking about, yeah, and it kills me.
Yeah. And they said that was like a real scene, right?
Yeah.
He was truly feeling
It was, like,
emotional about his
unedited.
dad that time, and Uncle Phil, the actor, truly was
Yeah.
coming
and
over
like
to
he
comfort
even like
him.
knocks his head off and you can like hear them like really crying and it like
Yeah.
ends with no music, it just ends. 'Cause
Right.
they're like, man, that was a really crazy scene. So those two scenes I will go and watch when I'm pregnant.
I bet if Will Smith found his real dad these days, he'd probably walk up to him and slap
You
him
think?
like he did. Keep my name out your mouth. You know who else likes to watch that scene where Drake gets shot on Degrassi? Kendrick, I bet. I bet he watched it over and over. He plays it. His staff plays it for him while he's writing a diss track. And then after the scene ends, he says, "Play it again." And like, but Kendrick, you just watch. Play it again. Taking
I
notes.
said, play it! Over.
It's good stuff. Yeah, West Virginia is not part of Virginia. Come on. I mean, you got to give them a little bit of benefit of doubt. It's only been since 1863. So
Yeah.
they got to get the maps updated. It takes a while for that stuff to
Yeah,
happen.
it takes almost 200 years.
Although Google Maps already got Gulf of America changed. Can you believe that?
Day one.
Day one. But you know who hasn't changed it yet?
Canada.
MapQuest.
MapQuest?
MapQuest. Now, I don't think they're trying to take a stand. I think they just don't have the staff.
They're behind it.
Because if you remember, MapQuest is back when you were a kid, and if you were a family would like go to the beach, you would print off a MapQuest, and it's like 8 pages.
Does anybody care?
No, listen, you had to print off 8 pages
Yeah.
on your printer,
And then
and you
put
had
it
to read
together.
it. Yeah, and you're like, okay, turn left here, drive 20 miles, look for this exit. That was your version of Google Maps or Apple Maps, was this paper. That's MapQuest. So I guess you can still go on there and print off a copy of directions. See, I don't think it's a political stand or anything. It's just they have like 5 people working. You can't update everything, you know. They're trying their best.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get that stuff printed out too.
Yeah, exactly. Did you ever do that? You ever remember doing that like as a kid?
I remember my mom doing it.
Did she? She printed off something like that? I can't even, like, it's just, it's crazy because ever since we started driving, we had Google Maps basically. Can't imagine the old days where you had to have the full pull-out map and you're trying to figure out.
They had
the route.
Google Maps in like 2006.
I think so, right? I'm trying to remember when I
I
started
don't think I
using it
had
regularly.
anything like that. I don't think I had a smartphone until we were just married.
Okay, I might be wrong, but I don't remember not using it, I guess. So
Yeah.
whenever it was, we've been using it for a long time. We're spoiled.
My
put it that
first
way.
smartphone was when we got married and we were living in the trailer.
Okay, you're right. I had a GPS first. I had a GPS, an old standalone GPS that wasn't part of a phone. And you had to type in the address. It was kind of clunky. It took a while.
Yeah.
And it wasn't 100% accurate.
What was it,
It did the trick.
TomTom?
Yeah, like a TomTom.
That's what I got you.
Yeah.
I got you that.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Thanks for not spilling this hot chocolate on my mic.
West Virginia. How did it become a state?
They said, we're sick of you.
Yeah, a divorce.
Just like a Texas is going to do to America soon.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that.
You haven't? Heard it?
They had a divorce. They said, you get custody of the beaches. We get the most beautiful parts, the mountains. They have some mountains too, but not as good.
I love the beach.
That reminds me of a pet peeve, actually.
What?
Because I was thinking about where the mountains are at in Virginia. No, I got nothing against Virginia.
I know.
And I got nothing against the western part of Virginia. It's beautiful. Reminds me of West Virginia. But some people try to claim that our song is about Western Virginia.
Yeah.
And that's a big pet peeve of mine. Because
I can see both sides.
No, you cannot see both sides.
I'm just kidding.
The song quite literally says West Virginia.
Yeah.
In the song.
If he was singing
Are
about
they saying that
Eastern
John Denver
Virginia,
didn't know that,
Take Me Home,
that there's a state called West Virginia? It was just a coincidence?
Yeah.
It's like he's
East
actually talking about
Virginia.
Western Virginia. And then he would have said Western Virginia.
East
He
South
said
Carolina,
West Virginia.
East
He also says
Carolina.
Stranger to Blue Water. He also came to Morgantown and performed it at our football field.
Those, what are they called? Turkeys? Yokies?
The turkeys.
Whatever
They're
they're
the
called.
Hokies. And it's a castrated turkey is what it is.
Oh.
It's not even a good mascot. Again, no offense to Virginia.
Yikes.
I love them.
Do you?
No, but yeah, I like Virginia. Virginia's okay. I spent a lot of time in Harrisonburg.
Just a tiny bit in Virginia.
A good
Not
bit.
time, but
Oh,
a little bit in Virginia.
Virginia, yeah.
The western part of Virginia.
Actually, I think that most of Virginia's pretty good, except for
Richmond?
yeah, and probably Richmond.
Richmond, northern
And like
Richmond.
the northern, yeah, Nova. Anyway, we're getting off track. However, the truth is, this is the truth behind the song. When it says the Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah Valley, and all that, the inspiration actually came from the authors. Wasn't even John Denver. It was he was a co-writer on it, but the original inspiration, it started with these other writers. I should look up the details and get it exactly right, but I'm too lazy. Okay, but the point is this: they were driving in Maryland, close to the West Virginia border, whenever they got the inspiration off the views and stuff. Now, so I guess you could argue it was Maryland. Maryland wouldn't sound as good. Like Almost Heaven, Maryland. That would sound like awful.
My God, it's almost hell, Maryland. Leave that in, too.
Whoa. But listen, the song is saying this, okay? The song is about going home. It's country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. So if you're in a county of Maryland that borders West Virginia, the country roads are taking you to
It's
West
like,
Virginia.
please, God, take me
It's country
home.
roads take me home. I got a feeling I should have been home yesterday. He's trying to get home to West Virginia. So even the people that are like, oh, he's in Western Virginia, even if that's true, he's coming to West Virginia. He says West Virginia in the song. Take me to the place I belong, West Virginia.
Yeah.
It's not about Western Virginia. It's not about Maryland. These people are going to make me mad. You know what it comes down to?
Miners,
You know what
lady.
you know what it comes down to? They're jealous. They want the song to be about them. They want it to be about them so
Because
bad.
they don't have anything that's good.
But John Denver proved it. The debate is settled. He proved it when he came to Mountaineer Field and sang the song. That was it. He would have said no, or he would have said, I'm not even singing about you. That's not what happened. He showed up. The crowd loved it. That proved it. That was it. End of story right there. There's no debate. There's no debate.
Yeah, so we shouldn't get upset about it.
I know. I'm just saying, if anybody got the nerve to come at me, there's no debate. It's settled. This is settled. Gospel at this point.
You think this is like worth getting into a fist fight over?
Maybe, yeah. Might be. Anyway. Yeah, so you know the whole history there. Civil War, the only state that a president, Abraham Lincoln signed a bill, said, hey, West Virginia is its own state, because it would be beneficial to the Union. Originally, they were going to call it what? We've talked about it before. The state instead of West Virginia, what were we going to call it?
I don't remember.
Kanawha.
Oh.
And the original capital was in Wheeling.
Wheeling.
Yeah. So, anyway, let's move along, shall we? Number 2, everyone lives in the mountains.
Everyone lives in the mountains?
Like everyone in West Virginia lives in the mountains.
I mean, I think we're obviously the most mountainous state. I don't think
Yeah.
everyone lives in the mountains.
Yeah, that's why it's a
Like
misconception.
my grandparents live in a valley.
Yeah.
I mean, does that count? Like they don't live on a mountain. The mountains are surrounding them completely.
Here's the thing. In other states, when you go to Walmart, you park in the parking lot and you walk into Walmart. So for anybody who's watching from out of state, in West Virginia, you park, and since we all live on mountains, is what it's saying, and it's true. They throw a rope down to us. It's tied to a tree up top, and you got to climb this rope up to get to the Walmart, and you get your milk and stuff, and then you got to rope yourself back down the mountain to get to your car.
Yeah.
It's really inconvenient, but you got to do what you got to do, right? I'm joking.
I'm like so confused with that. Oh.
Have you ever roped yourself up at Walmart?
No,
It's a
I
joke.
thought you were doing like an analogy.
No.
Oh, okay. Like, where are you going with it?
No, there is something funny that reminded me of, though. It was said, the European mind cannot comprehend this parking situation. And it was calling it the American parking situation. And this was saying this is just how America builds parking lots. But the actual parking lots was from Morgantown.
Yeah.
It was from the town center in Morgantown, from the restaurants up there. Because you have a restaurant with its parking lot. Over here's a restaurant parking lot. Over here's a restaurant parking lot.
Yeah.
And everybody on the chat, even Americans are like, yeah, this is so dumb. Why wouldn't you just build one big parking lot and put them all together? Why are they on like little islands? Are they that selfish and poorly designed? But the picture's deceiving. It's a 2D bird's eye view looking at it, so you can't see elevation. So you think, in their mind, they're thinking, yeah, this is a flat land. These people have just sectioned off each little section for themselves selfishly. But in reality, here's the restaurant, and then the other restaurant's here with its parking lot. So on the map, they look like they're side by side, but in reality, there's a huge elevation change. And you can't make that a parking lot. You have to go back on the road, drive down to this parking lot.
Yeah.
And so it's really taken out of context. But I think it's funny. It's just funny to me because I've seen this on like national Facebook pages or whatever, and it's supposed to represent America. I'm like, hey, that's Morgantown. Definitely out of context, though. Definitely out of context.
Yeah.
But isn't most things on the internet?
Yeah, almost everything.
Almost everything, really.
But not almost us.
Not us. This is the source for true news right here. Everything we say is not only true, it's 100% accurate. All right, no modern infrastructure. So roads, internet.
We have a ton of that.
This is all very true as well. We have no internet. We have no electricity. I had to go outside earlier and
we have to have a generator.
Check on the water wheel, make sure the water was turning it to generate electricity. And the porta-john. And it was really cold too. It's like 15 degrees.
I know, it was really cold out today.
No fun going outside to the porta-john.
I had to walk a long way.
No, what the porta-john, what do they even call it?
Outhouse.
Outhouse. Yeah, outhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Whenever I was a teenager and I was playing Xbox Live and I was playing games on there, I was thinking about this for a question later on down the list here about your accent. But I guess my accent was probably worse back then. So these people would pick up on it. Other teenagers I'm playing against on Xbox Live, and they're like, you sound like you're from the South, and you're probably some Tennessee or West Virginia or some hillbilly like that. And they said, you probably don't even have internet or electricity. I'm playing on Xbox Live against you, so I obviously have both. And if I don't, then that's even more impressive, right? Like, how am I here? Doesn't even make sense. But those were good times. You had to do what you had to do on Xbox Live. It was a war zone back in the 2000s. A lot different, I think, than it is now.
Yeah.
These people wouldn't survive these days.
No.
I was in the trenches, putting in my time. Anyway.
Now you're putting in your money.
There is some areas where the internet's not great. That's true.
Yeah.
Starlink's helping a lot with that.
Yeah, like back
A lot of people
where
get
my
Starlink.
parents lived on the farm, like the internet was terrible.
The internet's terrible. Still is. Still terrible. So there's some truth to it.
Even the phone lines.
Areas.
Like if it rains, you don't have a phone line.
It actually reminded me of something I saw on Facebook the other day. It had a map of where you can get Starlink, how good the signal would be. And there's still, even because Starlink says all you have to do is have a clear shot at the sky, basically. So anywhere you have a clear shot, you can get internet. But there's something going on with the quiet zone.
What's that?
The quiet zone right close to Green Bank.
Yeah.
It doesn't come in or something. There's something going on there. It shows it as basically an area that's not covered by Starlink. When you go on Starlink's website, where it shows the coverage map, there's a gap there. And the internet's saying, and again, the internet's always right and truthful. They're saying it's because of the Green Bank quiet zone that's forcing that. So the people were kind of mad. They're like, hey, we want internet too, it's not cool.
Well, move.
Man, you're brutal. You're brutal tonight. This is what happens when we film at like whatever time it is now, late at night.
I don't even know. I took my watch off.
Because the only chance we get to film is in the late hours of the night. And then you just start telling the truth after a certain hour, right?
No.
You tell more truth after 11 than you do than 11 a.m.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I've really gone through it in the day.
Yeah.
I've been in the trenches.
Yeah.
I just had a big event, and I'm tired.
Cultural misconceptions. Everyone works in a coal mine.
That's what the event I just came from.
Yeah.
And now I probably have like black lung right now, and I'm trying to film this video.
I do a lot of digging at work. Not coal though. I dig through emails and through usually silly conversations,
And I'm digging
We'll
through
say
like
that to be nice.
diapers and dishes.
But you know something I think may be true? Because coal is a huge part of West Virginia, especially traditionally. I wonder if it's true that everybody knows somebody who works in coal.
We do.
We do? And I know, I think most West Virginians probably at least know somebody.
I would say my entire family knows
So
somebody.
it's not super far off. Like, yeah, it's kind of wild to say everybody's coal miner, but I bet everybody knows somebody that's a coal miner for the most part.
Or works in a coal mine as an electrician or whatever. Like my cousin has done that before. We have neighbors who've done that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's definitely touched on every area in West Virginia. People are uneducated or backward.
It's about 50-50.
Man, that's wrong.
It depends on where you're at in West Virginia.
Included. 50-50. I'm joking.
I'm joking.
Now, listen. West Virginia has some fine institutions. West Virginia University, Marshall, Shepherdstown.
But who's going to them? People from other countries.
Yeah, there's a lot of in-state, too.
Yeah, there is.
You'd have to look at the percentages, but I think it's probably pretty high. Yeah.
I think it just really depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
And I really can't really speak my mind on this without offending people, so I won't.
Okay.
But I'm just going to say it depends on where you are from and where you live.
Oh, yeah. You definitely don't have to be college educated to be quote unquote educated. I mean, I know a lot of incredibly smart people who know a lot of things that never had any formal college, and they know plenty about a lot of things. I think when you think about like small towns, even like our small town, like Petersburg,
think of like life experiences.
I think that a lot of people there know a lot of things, just in general.
Yeah.
And they know how to get by, you know. Probably more so than somebody maybe fresh out of college.
Well, I guess what are you calling educated?
Well, the technical misconception here that we're talking about, so technically speaking, they're talking about college educated.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
what
college educated.
Right. And you're incredibly smart.
I'm way smarter than you, and you are college educated.
I know. And people are probably surprised that I am college educated. They probably think this guy's a complete idiot.
You are literally, and I'm not just saying because you're my husband, you're literally one of the smartest people. I'm not going to say one of, you are the smartest person I know.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
I'm not just saying that because we're married
It's
either.
very kind.
You are.
I feel like I do a pretty decent job of hiding,
At everything you literally do.
No, hiding it.
Hiding that you're
Yeah.
smart?
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to make people feel bad about themselves.
It's all an act. When you see me do something silly, it's just, he's faking.
Like, oh, you can be real with us, buddy.
Oh, here we go. People have a thick country accent.
My dad and your stepdad, Tim, yes. Those are really thick accents.
I still say some things that Tim says just because I think it's funny. Like he always said winders growing up. I've never heard him say the word window, ever. And it's not a joke. That's how he says it.
Yeah.
Roll your window up. And so I say it to the kids now.
Yeah.
Like when we're in the car, I'm like, ironically or whatever. Kids, roll that window up.
Yeah. So
But I like
Tim and my dad have very thick. My pap, Jarrett, has an accent. One of the last cowboys in West Virginia, we'll say.
Yeah. Tim's brother, Peanut.
Your mom does.
He passed away, but he had one so thick, I couldn't even understand him. Like he would talk to me, and I don't know what you're saying, man.
Yeah.
Tim has it not as bad.
He's on the brink.
He's on the brink. He's not as bad. Peanut, I could not understand Peanut.
Oh, I love
You know, it's funny because Tim and my mom, they could understand him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was different.
Your mom's just in that.
You think she's got a thick accent?
No, I'm just saying she understood them because she's like, she lives with Tim, so she's learned it.
You learned it.
But your mom does have an accent.
Yeah. I think that me and you had worse accents when we were younger. And I think that we've kind of got away from it unintentionally.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we first moved to Morgantown, people were calling you out a lot on it, weren't they? They were like making a joke about it. Like, look at her.
And I feel like I changed because I didn't, and I'm sad that I did.
Yeah. You didn't do it on purpose, right?
No, I didn't do it on purpose. But I don't think I have ever been like, oh, I want to fit in. But it just happened over time.
Yeah, I think you just get used to your surroundings. And I think that accents in general are probably lesser today, this day and age, because pretty much everybody's watching the same videos on Reels and TV shows and things like that. So we're all hearing the same speak. So I think in general, accents are probably going away, at least compared to what they used to be.
What I think is really interesting is whenever like parents who like, for example, only speaks, they're Spanish speaking parents and they have a child here and they send their kid to school and they speak perfect English.
Yeah.
And they
'Cause
have
that's who
no
they're
Spanish
around.
accent. And I'm like, that is so weird
Yeah.
because you're with your parents a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, I'm sure they understand
But
Spanish.
when you're a kid, you're in school a lot too.
Yeah, so that's just weird.
If you really count
Languages and
everybody that
accents
you're
and stuff
around
is
when you're a
weird.
kid, all your peers and teachers and everything, I'd say that has your parents beat as far as time hearing it. But no, but I love accents. I think they're great.
I do too.
And when somebody has like a thick one, especially because you were saying earlier that it's different in different parts of the state. I think that's true too. But anytime I hear somebody with an accent, I love it.
I do.
I'm a big fan. I wish I had more of an accent than I do, but I'm not going to fake it. I am who I am.
I think, and my siblings are different. I feel like I only, like my eyes, like for example, like we would call like pa, but my friend's husband, who is from like the Fairmont, Clarksburg area, calls it pie. Like, what the heck is pie? That's weird. Isn't
Okay,
it
yeah,
pie?
I hear it.
We say pie. So that's like an example. And if I'm mad, it will really come out. Like my sister sounds exactly like me. The older she gets and I hear us, we sound the same. My brother Jacob does not have an accent at all.
I might have a little bit of one because whenever I was doing some of the shorts that I do off of this podcast, it generates the captions, and sometimes they're wrong. And then when I play it back with the caption that it put, I'm like, oh yeah, that does sound like that word. And if I didn't know what I actually said, I would think I probably did say that the thing the caption said. I don't have any good examples. I'd have to go back and look, but it's definitely happened already, even on this podcast. So I might have a little bit of one. I don't care if I do. I like
Depends
it.
on who you ask.
I like it.
Whenever I moved here, they made fun of my accent. Some people would make fun of that, and some people would think that I was like Latino. It was like one or the other.
When we went to Florida this last time, we were at Walmart and a lady came up to you speaking Spanish and was asking you questions. She thought you were going to answer her in Spanish.
Yeah.
So there must be something there.
Just like people just
And you
think
were
that
like,
sometimes.
I don't speak Spanish. And then she switched to English. She's like, oh, okay.
It's like I'm
And then
so
she asked you
sorry.
in English.
Was the
And
best
then I said she
razor to
probably
use on her
thought
face.
that you were a Latina that didn't know Spanish. Because those are a thing I've read online. And sometimes they're shamed. It's like, why didn't you learn Spanish? So that's what she
So
thought.
she probably went
she
home
was
and said,
disappointed
I
in
saw
you.
this
She was
Latina
like,
girl.
this girl at Walmart didn't even speak Spanish. Can you believe it? Way to go.
I know. Maybe I should learn it. And they'll be like, that's okay. That's what I expected for you to say.
You got to represent your heritage. What's wrong with
Maybe
you?
it's because like whenever I wear self-tanner, especially when I was tanning in the tanning bed, like all the time when we first moved to Morgantown, I was always really tan and my hair was like pure black back then. This is my natural hair color now.
I got to tell you a story before I forget. One time when I was at 4-H camp as a kid, they sent this Native American gentleman to speak to us. And his whole...
Native American gentleman.
Well, he was. What do you want me to say?
Was he a gentleman?
Actually, I don't know. I didn't feel like he was that polite. Maybe he wasn't a gentleman. Actually, I remember, I thought he was kind of
Not
mean.
representing very well.
Well, he came to speak to us about like prejudice. That the whole speech was on.
So he was proving himself.
And he was there and his whole thing was like, I'm tired of you little white kids being prejudiced toward us Native Americans. That's really what it was. I'm not making this up.
You little white kids.
But what I thought was funny, or what I think's funny now anyway, he gave us an example. He was giving us an example, not of us to him, but like what if we did this to you? He's like, you all live in West Virginia, so what if we picked on you for your misconceptions? And the one that he picked was one I'd never heard before or after. He said this. He said, because you guys are always walking around on the least flat state in the nation, West Virginia, one of your legs is shorter than the other one. Because you're always walking on unlevel ground, your legs grow different lengths. And I'd never heard that before, and I've never heard it since.
I've never heard that.
But I remember him saying that, and he was like, how would you feel, since that's a huge misconception on your state, if everybody's just like, look at those West Virginians and their uneven legs?
Can't even relate to that at all.
I can't relate to it. I've never heard of it. And I think that's funny. And I was
is
like,
really funny.
I thought about that when he said that. I was like, is that a thing? Like, we're walking around on unlevel ground
I've
and
never
our
heard
legs
that
are
before.
like, that's wild.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that would hurt my feelings.
That would devastate me.
So I'm not going to be prejudiced toward Native Americans.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what? I remember this. I'm kidding. No, I'm like 8 years old, but I remember. He's like, he was going to be fair to some of the. He's like, I'm gonna be honest and fair. And he's like, we shouldn't smoke as much as we do, like the pipe
Yeah.
around the fire
Peyote?
or whatever it was. That's what he said. He was like, and some of us will say it's our tradition or whatever, but it's too much.
Where did he come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
So random. I love Native
I'll get him
American
back.
culture.
Like, I'm going to bring him. We're going to bring
I
him on the
wish.
podcast and interview him. Which I
Native
don't even know his
American
name.
man, Mr. Indigenous. Have you seen that guy?
No.
I love.
Is that the one that says he's not going to do the voice?
Yeah.
But then they pay him enough, he'll do the
Yes.
voice? Yeah.
They're like, Mr. Indigenous, can you give me a spirit guide name? Oh, I will call you. it's just really.
Hey, you can't do that.
Oh, I don't want to be a culture vulture.
You're a culture vulture. You already stole the Latino look, and now you're going for Native American.
Braid my hair and call me a culture
Man,
vulture. Well,
I'll tell you
then
what.
it's like, who really braids their hair? People from Switzerland.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do with you. You need to go to a training. I'm going to get him on here to speak to you one-on-one.
I wish you would, just
I'm gonna
because
call
I
him
like
up
the
and
culture.
say, you remember when you talked to me when I was 8 years old? And you really taught me some things. Changed my life. And it stuck with me forever, that whole uneven leg thing. I still think about it to this day. But my wife really needs a good lesson.
One thing I do want to talk about when it's my turn to do a podcast is on Lake Shawnee. That's what I'm
Okay.
trying to gather up information about.
Oh, is that what
Have you heard about it?
No, I don't know.
Don't look into
I
it
won't
at
look
all.
at it. But anyway, speaking on your closed-mindedness, the next misconception. West Virginians are closed-minded. Dun, dun, dun. It says unfriendly or closed-minded.
I have heard from people who are out-of-staters say that this is the most friendliest people they've ever met. That whole, those people from Europe that came over recently
yeah,
and toured,
they just
were like, the
really hyped us
people
up.
are beautiful. I had a friend over the other day who was from New York, and she said the people here are beautiful. Now, are they just talking about, I don't know who they're talking about, but I know specific places where I don't want to go because of how they act.
I already know. Okay, but in general, what I hear from out-of-staters is that they think the people are really
Yeah.
great. So it's a lie. They'd do anything. They give you the shirt off their back here in West Virginia.
Probably not right now in 15-degree weather, but come back in the summer.
There you go. Everyone is poor and depressed.
Poor,
Well,
depressed, not both.
now listen, there's-
one or the
there's
other.
truth-
You can't pick.
There's truth
can't
to
take both
economic
struggles.
challenges.
You got to pick a
There's some
struggle.
economic challenges in West Virginia. That's 100% a fact. We all know that. It's unfortunate. And a lot of that, I've done a lot of research and watched a lot of videos. And what people a lot of times don't understand is a lot of that is almost, I don't want to make an excuse, but it's our gift is our curse kind of thing. We are the least flat state, and that really messes things up. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I could go on a whole rant.
Do it quickly.
But because of being the least flat, and we've talked about it before, I'm not saying our mountains are the biggest mountains. We all know they're out west. It's not about what mountains are big or anything. It's about the flatland. There's no flatland. Even here, everything's on a hill, a rolling hill. It might, even if it's not a huge hill, it's still a hill. So it's hard to build factories. It's hard to even have massive farms. When I was watching this video, one of the average sized farms in the West could not fit in West Virginia, like anywhere.
Yeah.
Even if you repurposed an area that's already has other
Like
stuff
even
into a farm,
places in
you
Ohio.
couldn't fit it. It's just not there.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is the mountain's fault, the economic. And then we got blessed for a while with coal, and that really turned things around. But then as the nation's moved on from coal, it has put a damper. So a lot of people will blame the politicians, but the truth is, it really don't matter who you vote in there. Whoever it is going to have a tall challenge ahead of them.
Yeah.
Put it that way. It's going to be a challenge.
yeah.
And the roads are often terrible, and a lot of times that's because of the mountains. So when you think about that, you got to have infrastructure in place for vehicles, like trucks to go from factories.
Yeah.
And, are they going to go across Mountain Storm every time it snows? It's going to be a challenge.
I know.
So-
There's like a lot of other factors.
There's a lot of
The
factors.
opioid epidemic in West Virginia is terrible, probably the worst.
But
That
here's
leads
the thing,
to
they did a big study
depression.
on it, and a lot of the stuff is circular, meaning
It is circular.
Meaning somebody might say, I don't want to build a factory there because of opioids, but the opioids are bad because somebody didn't build, because of the economic downturn is why people got addicted to begin with. Because even all over the nation, if you follow the areas that have economic hardship, that's where you find opioids.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a circular reasoning thing. It's like, it's almost like a chicken and an egg. What came first? Well, the economic downturn came first.
Yeah. And that
Then
yeah.
the opioids followed it.
Aren't we the state most addicted to drugs and the most obese state?
I think, but a lot of that's related
I know,
to
that's
economic
what I'm saying.
down. So if
Yeah.
you could fix the economics, a lot of that stuff would naturally go away.
Yeah.
In other words, that stuff is more of a symptom than a cause.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it makes it difficult because it is circular. So once you get that symptom, then that becomes unattractive to outside businesses and things
I've
like that.
seen like a ton of interviews from that. The soft white underbelly.
You love that one.
Shout us out, soft. I do love that. But he loves people of West Virginia. But whenever he goes to the southern parts of West Virginia and he interviews just anybody, and he'll be asking them, like, what makes you want to stay here? Well, I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. Like, well, how are you addicted to drugs? Well, there's nothing to do here. That's what they all say. There's just nothing to do. There's nothing better to do. But they will not leave. They're like, I love it here.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to do here.
Right.
And that's why they're
stubborn.
They say that they're addicted to drugs because that's something to do.
Yeah.
And that is in those old like coal mining areas where it's just kind of dead.
It became a ghost town.
Yeah, and that's where their family's from, and they don't really know anything else. So they love it, but they also don't know what to do.
A lot of those towns, when they had wealth before, when the mining was going really well, there's remnants of it. You can see where it used to be a nice downtown,
Oh, yeah.
nice buildings, but now they've fallen apart because the money left. The money left, so there's no money to maintain that.
Yeah.
So then you almost were left with a ghost town, and the people just got left behind. Basically, that's what it boils down to. And it wasn't. When I say the people left behind, I mean like generations of families, and it wasn't their fault, and they didn't want to leave because they didn't want to leave their families.
Yeah.
And now you have what you have now. So that's the challenge: is how do you fix that? And that's something that will continue to be a challenge.
Like
for
an
years to
impossible
come.
job, to be honest.
But we'll get it.
Yeah.
I really love West Virginia. I'm stubborn like those people that won't leave, and I'll be sitting here. If the state ever goes down and sinks, I'll be sinking with it.
Okay.
I am those people that don't leave. That's me. Which is funny because that's some of the misconceptions. Like they're not well traveled. Is the next one.
I don't care.
They just want to stay in
I've
West
already
Virginia.
said I'll go to Orlando. I will fly
pretty
from
much
West
true.
Virginia to Orlando and back, and nowhere else in between.
Yeah, it's people that don't know us very well. Orlando is like our vacation destination.
Yeah, and I don't
we love
care.
Orlando.
We said this in
We're
the
not
last
well
one.
traveled. We like 2 places, West Virginia and Florida, and that's it.
I don't need to know anything else.
The other 48. I'm just kidding.
What does it matter if you're well traveled? What, all you've seen
You see
another
different
mountain than I
experience, and
did?
you open your mind.
And how you always say, like, oh, if I wanted to go to Ireland, I would just go to your Pap farm. Like, literally.
Listen, how would you ever have known that you liked Florida if you never went there? There's other places like that exist that are waiting for you. They're saying, Kelsey, come here. But you won't know because you're stubborn. Because you like swimming with manatees and seeing alligators, palm trees and beaches, amusement parks.
Riding oh my gosh, I can't even think of it right now. The hotel one.
What? Oh, Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror, oh my gosh, it's my favorite ride and I can't even think of it. But I would like to go to Ireland mainly because of the accents. That's my favorite accent.
You can just look that up on YouTube.
And like there's stone walls, architecture, castles.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You don't care.
No,
about
I don't
that kind
care.
of
I don't
stuff.
judge people who do. I mean, it's cool. I don't care. I can look at a picture.
Okay, well.
I just don't. I have a very specific vacation style, and that's action. I like to do stuff. I'm always looking for that thing to do that breaks me out of my normal cycle
Yeah,
of
it's
life.
exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting. So for me, like, looking at castles just wouldn't do it for me.
Like, I wouldn't want to do it the whole time. Like, if you gave me a week, I would do that sometimes. Like, oh, let's go see that while we're here.
Yeah.
It's not like I would go and, like, want to stand and stare at it.
Right. Well, I think that's about all I have on here. Yeah, I think we covered all of it.
Okay.
But is there anything else?
What is the worst? Have you been told anything? Like, what is the worst thing that you've been told about being from West Virginia? Have you had any experiences like that?
Not in real life. There's been times on social media.
Yeah.
I used to have a West Virginia WVU football account.
On Twitter?
Yeah, on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And sometimes people would say stuff about West Virginia, knowing that I was from West Virginia, trying to get under my skin or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they would just say dumb stuff. It was just dumb. They put a picture of, like, somebody from, like, the hills have eyes. Like, this is everybody in West Virginia is what you all look like.
Yeah.
Something dumb like that. But anyway, it's just ignorant. No, but for real, I wonder what if there's other stuff out there. What's
like, what have you heard?
What's like the strangest question you've ever been asked? Like, hey, how close is that to Richmond or something? That kind of style question.
Yeah.
Leave us a comment and let us know. Maybe we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah.
You got a good one. I think these were mostly funny ones. They weren't too stressful. I got a couple rants going, I think, in there, but not too bad.
Yeah.
For the most part. West Virginia, we love it. We got good people.
Yeah.
A lot of good people. A lot of good people have come from West Virginia. A lot of good people still here, still doing good things. We're going to try to find them too. Maybe we should talk about that. Should we give a little chat on that?
If you want.
A little preview?
Go ahead.
I have this crazy idea. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Because it would take us 3 years, I'm thinking, I calculated. Roughly 3 years. But I thought it would be cool to go to all 55 counties and interview someone.
Yeah.
But let the people of the county pick it. So you would go on social media for their county, if they have like a county news group, and basically say, hey, who would you like to see represent your county on our podcast? Let them pick it, and then go there, visit the county, and interview that person. 55 counties. I think it would take about 3 years, because that's doing one every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It would take about 3 years, but I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Would
If
you
you're
guys like that?
watching,
Would you like to see that?
nominate who you would think in the comments.
Yeah.
Who do you think for Mon County
Mon County? Oh,
to
man.
represent
That'd be tough. There's so many good ones.
the Mountaineer?
Mountaineer would be cool. You know who I thought would be really good, but it would never happen. It's like a pipe dream.
Who?
Ren Baker. He would
Ren
be really
Baker.
cool.
Who's that?
The athletic director.
Oh.
He would be really good. I think. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But that will never happen. We're just small fish. We're just small fish.
Yeah.
Most of the
see.
people have already logged off. But if you're still here, we thank you. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
And yeah, we look forward to keep going.
Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, nominate who you would think be best for your county. And also, if you have something that you want to talk about, like you want us to talk about, anything that is interesting to you, an interesting experience you have.
Absolutely.
Something like that, anything.
Yeah,
If it's
we're really
happened
doing
in
it.
West Virginia,
This is who
We
we're doing
wanna
it for.
know.
We're doing it for you guys that stuck around to the end. This is who it's really for. So you guys are our priority. Even if the video gets 80 views, but only 4 of you stuck around to the
But
end,
if
that's the
you-
4 we're doing it for. So you
you
put
are
in the
watching.
comments what you want to see, and that's what we're going to make for you.
you
We're going to
will
make it
be,
happen.
yeah, priority.
Yeah, exactly.
You say it, we'll probably do it.
That's right. All right. If you love West Virginia as much as we do, and we know you do, or you wouldn't still be here on this video particularly, you would have left a long time ago.
Yeah.
So because you love West Virginia as much as we do, like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Woo! That's showbiz.
Yeah.